One thing that's interesting about this album is that it's very different from some of Stereolab's earlier work. And the reason that is it was the first record of theirs to be recorded on Pro Tools. So for those of you who don't know what that means, basically it means that this album was recorded digitally with the use of computers rather than to tape or in analog. So what this meant is that it was a lot easier to record overdubs, to loop layers upon layers, to add hundreds of little tiny details and embellishments in a way that they weren't really able to do earlier on in their career, Stereolab this is. It does, as a result, have a slightly excessive style at least, and certainly a ridiculous amount of detail to it. You can definitely hear that change in the sound, right, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm 100%. I think the lounge music aspect is definitely what's noticeable to me. So all the horns, all the guitars, all the piano parts sound really lush, really fresh, really harmonious. And as you say, there's basically just a sheen on dots and loops that just isn't on previous work. I think the other thing is musically, I'm not saying that they weren't creative before this point, but I think dots and loops definitely widen the scope considerably of the kind of sounds that they were using. So they're still playing around with synths, but there's massive horn sections on this album. There's big string moments. Yeah, like all manner of percussion, and just as you say, because it's been recorded on Pro Loops, you can add in all these strange noises. There's just a lot of weird sounds giving rise to the tag of elevator music that I always read. I think maybe the best way to describe this album, or at least the way I think it is, it doesn't really sound like it was made on Earth. I feel like it sounds like it belongs on like a moon of Jupiter, compared to earlier stuff.
Which is why that tagline, as annoying as it is, the retro futurist dream pop.
Yeah,
it does have
it does kind of get at it. Yeah, annoying.
It does. I mean, that said, like a lot of fans of Stereolab at the time were absolutely aghast and horrified by this change. Because if you listen to their earlier records, I mean, listen to Peng, which is their first album, and you listen to this, the difference is like astronomical. Not to make another space pun. And even, oh my god, I can't believe it. That's getting edited out in the post production. If not, there you go. Anyway, in hindsight, Tim Gaines said of this album that he thought it maybe suffered from a bit too much of that looping or artificial playing or that kind of surface sheen. And they ended up going back to analog recording methods in the future, so that's something to consider.